you have a great admiration for people who don't even exist? Do you know histories of fake worlds better than you know your own? Do you geek out? If so, geek out with us. Here, now. It's the Geek for All Show.
It is indeed the Geek for All. How are you guys doing this evening? I am your host, Geekmeister. With me, as always, Possessor Weirdphok.
Hi.
And we have our head panelist and fact checker, Sam.
Hello, hello.
And we've got a guest panelist tonight. We got our buddy Josh here with us. He's going to be chatting up and helping us talk through Suicide Squad. How's it going, Josh?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. So yeah, we all recently saw Suicide Squad, actually kind of independently of each other. Me and the Professor went together, but that was about it. The rest of us all saw it independently. But obviously that's been like the big thing to talk about because everyone's been giving it shit, and there are reasons for that, but we're gonna try to highlight some moments here right now about what we felt worked about that movie, because there were some things about that movie that definitely worked. Let's open it up with the obvious, Harley Quinn.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Oh, she
Margot
was so
Robbie,
amazing.
she did a good job. She, like, it wasn't too over the top with the voice, like she was trying too hard to be it, but it was still there.
It was still
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Absolutely.
The fact that she's only 26 and just turned 26.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy
Blows
shit.
my mind. She was born in 1990.
Wow.
So-
Oh,
I
God.
didn't even
Wow,
realize
that is.
She seems very seasoned.
She
Not,
does.
Like, old, but
No,
Yeah, no,
but
just-
she
she's-
seems way beyond her years.
Yeah, very much so.
Which means that I'm hoping that we'll get more. And she was in what was that Leonardo DiCaprio?
Wolf of
Wall
Wall
Street.
Street. Yeah.
She was awesome.
And so I'm hoping that we'll see more from her, and like her
Oh, yeah.
talent just grows, because I was so blown away with her.
Oh yeah,
So
she was
blown
great.
away with her.
Yeah,
Great. The
I-
whole like when she was on the rope of the
Yeah.
helicopter, that whole scene, like how it was shot through the crosshairs, like
Mhm.
that was
Yeah,
beautiful.
that was
yeah, that
really
was
nice.
really nicely
Like-
done. I don't know why the scene existed, but it was a beautifully shot
beautiful
scene.
shot.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Or just her doing all of that rope work, whether it was in her cell or on the rope, like her being
Oh,
able
yeah.
to do that acrobatic stuff.
The cloth.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it called?
exactly.
Tapestry or
Yeah, something
whatever,
like that.
I can't remember what that practice is called, but yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
But the fact that you could tell she really got into this character, not to the point as other people got into their characters, which we'll talk about. But she definitely, you could tell she understood Harley,
Yeah.
and she didn't want to play her like a cartoon.
Right.
Exactly.
She wanted to make her
I
real.
did like how they threw in the old Harley
Oh,
Quinn
yeah.
like cartoon like
Yeah.
suit.
The suit, yeah, you
Yeah.
see it
Oh,
for just
yeah.
like a couple seconds, and it
Yeah.
still looks great.
Exactly,
And you even
yeah.
get to see the suit when she's like pulling out all her stuff. Obviously, she chooses the other outfit, which is fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It has to be different than the cartoon.
But they do the iconic shot of her in it with the Joker in his suit, and and they're standing together.
Who was that? Alan Moore?
No, it wasn't Alan Moore's.
No, I can't remember who. You anybody who's been online and long enough has seen it's the Joker in a black and white tuxedo, and Harley in her classic '90s television outfit. And it's an extremely realistic rendering of them. I can't remember who does the picture, but you've probably seen it online before. And let's talk about the Joker a little bit, because there's a lot of controversy as to what he was doing backstage and whether or not it actually was in any way effective.
Oh, Alex Ross. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alex Ross
Alex
is
Ross.
the what they did a throwback to in like just this one sort of flash through Harley's either imagination or memories.
flashback,
It's actually kind of hard to tell. They sort
It
of
is.
blur lines a
Yeah,
little bit, which they actually did a really nice job of illustrating.
Oh yeah.
But tied to Harley again is Jared Leto's Joker, who it's
bad.
hard. Yeah, but it's hard to tell how good he was.
Yeah, it
'cause
really
he
was.
wasn't in it that
He
much.
wasn't.
That's true, yeah.
was like
they
a
cut
ghost
out a
of a
lot of his
character.
scenes.
Yeah.
apparently.
Like
He was, which I liked how little he was in it, because he got cut. There was a ton of scenes
Yeah.
that got cut that Jared Leto was pissed about. And for the amount of time he was in the movie, I feel like the controversy of all of his method acting was bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Like unnecessary.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely,
Yeah.
he doesn't know what's gonna get cut. Nobody knows what's gonna get cut until it gets all shot. So
There could be some really amazing things that, like, he did need to get to that place to get to. We
Right.
don't know. We certainly didn't see any of it in
No.
this
But also,
particular go-through.
As far as his method acting goes, I was thinking about, that's funny, I was thinking about that earlier today. I'm like, after seeing it last night, was that all necessary? But then I'm start thinking, I'm like, he's probably getting in the mindset of, this is not the only movie he's gonna be the Joker
Right,
in.
that's true.
Like, he's probably got a lot of, he's probably gonna be in the Batman standalone movie, like, I would hope.
yeah, because they're
I
going
would
back to
think so.
Gotham. So,
Yeah.
And I will
really
say
going
this
back
much:
to Gotham.
maybe we didn't see him achieve much for himself, but the way in which he creeped out his other cast members, I have to admit, did read from other people.
Yeah.
And there was something effective about that, like just everyone kind of disliking him and feeling uncomfortable about him, like sort of naturally. There was something about that I don't want to say
that showed in the
justified
movie.
it, but
It did.
It did come across like something
It
did
did.
happen there because he did all of those things.
And I guess two kinds of bits of trivia. The first one was that I really agree with in terms of his method acting was he went on the streets of New York and Toronto and practiced Joker laughs, and he chose which one. And he would just go in the middle of the middle of the sidewalk and do them.
Yeah.
And whichever one creeped out people the most was the ones he chose.
Yeah.
Which I totally agree with, because you choose a random public setting instead of like a bunch of producers or whatever that know what you're supposed to be. If you do it in a random, just general public setting, you're gonna get that genuine reaction.
People think you're actually losing your mind. You get to see what version of losing your mind is scarier.
Exactly. And you get that instant reaction. And then the other thing was that I guess him and Margot never rehearsed. They just did their scenes. If it was just a Harley and Joker scene, they never rehearsed. They just went straight into it because they
That's
wanted that
amazing.
spontaneity
Yeah.
and that chaos
Yeah.
between them. So
I
they
like
would
that.
just do it.
Well,
That's-
that's
wow.
probably my favorite scene in the movie was the Ace Chemical.
Yeah. Yes. So I don't know if it was because we just saw Killing Joke, or if or anything like that, but it felt like it was very, and they obviously couldn't have done that on purpose. Very familiar.
Yeah.
It was great to see Killing Joke and kind of see the same sort of setup. Like obviously he was thrown in, but being able to know that background,
Yeah.
it was a really nice kind of tie-in. And that
Oh,
scene
yeah.
was, you could tell that scene had been in the original,
Right.
in the original cut, because
Yeah.
it was just very poetic.
Oh yeah, it was
yeah.
just artfully done.
It was.
Like everything about it, the vibe just gave off like just like that beautiful nightmare vibe.
Yeah.
And like you can tell, like, I don't know how to read this Joker and his relationship with Harley, because he leaves her in the car when she says she can't swim,
Yeah.
like under there, but then like he wants to go get her, he gets all pissed off. Like, is he pissed off because someone else has his toy? Or
Right.
that he's just such a chaotic mind, he does actually love her, which makes it dangerous for her?
Right.
I think
Where-
the answer might be yes on that. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the weird thing. Like, the Joker's the type of dude who can, like, to his best ability, like, love you, but at
you
the
have to be really
it's-
careful.
same
Yeah.
time, you're kind of still just his toy.
Yeah.
It's his twisted version of
Yeah.
love.
It's
Yeah.
not
It
a
is,
two-way
yeah.
street with Joker.
And he has no problem leaving your ass. Like,
Yeah.
he had no problem
Yeah.
leaving Harley at the bottom of the river
Yeah.
for Batman to take. Like, he had no problem sacrificing her.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he comes and he finds her, and he comes and he, you know, as soon as he realizes that he has a chance to almost rescue her. Rescue is the wrong word, because that seems almost too valiant.
Get her
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, get her
Yeah.
back.
I
Get
mean,
her
I'm sure it's
back.
rescue in his mind.
In his mind, he's
Yeah.
rescuing her.
Yeah.
It's very much. I'm really happy that they didn't romanticize it as much as pop culture has,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because everyone's like, "Oh, I would love like Harley Joker." No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Really
No.
don't.
It's
Oh
so
my God,
fucked.
no.
Psychological nightmare.
It is
Yeah.
absolutely a psychological nightmare. He
We're-
brainwashes her. He
It's
tortures
Stockholm
her.
syndrome.
It is
Yeah,
very
exactly.
much.
It is.
And you can see it every once in a while during, and I think that's what I loved about Margot Robbie, was that every once in a while he would do something, or somebody would say something, like Deadshot would say something,
Mhm.
and it would kind of click in her brain.
Yeah.
Like, is that what it's supposed to be? Like,
Yeah.
she's got this fantasy with Joker that they're married and they have kids and they live in
Mhm.
suburbia, and then Deadshot will say something about like his kid or something, and you see her wheels turn in her head of like, maybe I don't have that.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't right. But then you go back to the square one.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've started off showing how fucked this relationship is.
Oh yeah.
Was just because if they had shown it romanticized and like, oh, there's this great power couple, no, it would have ruined it.
Oh yeah, I mean, then they've got nowhere to build Harley's character.
Exactly.
In that case, if they were to do something like that,
she would have been his side piece and an accessory.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was kind of afraid of when we first started talking about this movie a couple months ago, was that Joker, there was going to be too much Joker, he was going to overpower everything, she was going to get overshadowed. This is her movie. This is supposed to be her. It's supposed to be... Deadshot kind of gets the main character thing, but it's supposed to be about her.
Yeah.
And the fact that we still got to see that and she wasn't overshadowed just made me... It was definitely a perk in this movie. It was definitely an upset.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like, they did over-glorify, like, Deadshot in the movie, but, like, they didn't build his character that much. I feel like...
they did more so than any of the other characters.
Exactly, yeah. They, barely touched on the other people.
Actually, I like that if anybody was going to get the spotlight, it was Harley, but I did feel weird how much they wanted this movie to be about Harley and Joker when it's a Suicide Squad film. And with all due respect, Harley's the newest member to the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Yeah.
And in a historical context. Like, they that was a very recent thing that they added.
Right.
So that was some, but if they were gonna pick anybody, I'm really glad it was Harley.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I have mixed feelings on that, but
she's definitely the most well known of the group.
Yeah, and I think that's why is that anybody that knows Batman knows Harley.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like despite the fact that this is the first time in a live action movie that Harley Quinn's been featured.
Yep.
Ever.
Yeah.
She's still one of the more well-known villains.
Yep.
Well, because people grew up with her in the 90s, you know?
Right, and that's it, and I think that's why they focused on her a lot more, was because you know the Joker, you know Harley. Killer Croc, you might not know him.
Yeah,
but
a lot of people know him.
You're gonna know who Harley Quinn is. So I think that was I think it was pretty decent. Not to mention though that she gets great support by Will Smith.
Oh yeah.
They were an interesting power team together, and their chemistry played off of each other very, very nicely. However, if we can start shifting over into some of the things that I don't quite like, where did his love interest for Harley come from?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in jail for a long time, and it's Harley, so.
I think if anything, it was an identification of another fucked up mind.
Yeah.
Like he's realized that he can't have a normal life.
Yeah.
He's doomed to just like the connection with his kid and whatnot, but like he never had love, he never had anything like that, and I think he's realized that it would never be like a quote unquote romantic thing, but it's the closest thing to a human relationship, like a relationship.
Yeah.
And because he realizes that she's as screwed up in the head as he is.
Right.
Okay, maybe a little more, but she's a little more psychotic. But I think if anything, it's a connection of two. Your crazy matches my crazy.
I think actually that is actually pretty cool, and I definitely like them better as that kind of couple as opposed to her and the Joker, which is just an abusive Stockholm syndrome relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Deadshot never tells Harley to shut up. He never tells. Well, okay, he does, but it's mostly the shut the fuck up right now, or else I'm gonna hit you. But he encourages her to don't take anybody's shit. Not that she does anyway, but it was. Their relationship as they're moving through these streets and trying to survive is very much you can do this.
Yeah.
Go fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I like.
Supportive.
It was a lot more supportive than certain aspects of her life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you have a good point there, and I wish they had illustrated it a little bit more right before they jumped to him like not wanting to shoot her.
Yeah.
On that, that's what I meant earlier when I said like, yeah, it was a great scene. I don't quite know why it was there, but and that's I think the biggest takeaway for me from this film is that with all those introduction scenes, I think they should have done one of two things. I think the best option they could have done would have been to actually do a Project X movie. Literally do a film called Project X, where it's getting all of these schmucks together, doing their backstories, and seeing like the whole thing play out, and kind of almost making it a sort of Crash-like thing, where everybody's story is touching like a little bit, but they're all passing through each other, or like a Pulp Fiction kind of thing.
Something like that.
And
they tried to
and now here's the thing, though. They probably wouldn't have been able to get away with that because they couldn't have gotten the publicity hype that they needed for something like that. So here's the compromise that they could have done. Why did you not do these intros as, like, YouTube promotional videos? And then just done the story in such a way where you don't have to know the backstory on everybody and everything. Like, you can kind of just follow along and just kind of have fun with the shoot 'em up, which is what this is. It's a shoot 'em up.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh yeah.
And I think which is what a lot of critics didn't appreciate about this film is that they like, oh, like we're going in there to see something great. The DC, Marvel, and stuff. Like these have been great movies recently. And it's like, yeah, but this is the shoot 'em up. This is the DC Universe shoot 'em up, and you got to appreciate it for that. So you can go in there with very little to no background and still enjoy yourself. But they could have set all those scenes up for those of us who wanted them as, again, a promotional type of thing. And in this day and age, like, even people who aren't that interested would have watched the one or two, like, that guy seems pretty cool, I want to see what, like, he's about. Or, like, and everyone would have, like, watched Harley's because obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And really, if you didn't know Harley, you would have watched for Margot Robbie to be prancing around in booty shorts.
Yes, you would have. Yes, you would have.
It is still Hollywood.
But it was almost like, and I think part of it was the problem with the editing, because we all know, and for anybody that doesn't, is that so it was a much darker film originally. And the original cut is a much darker film. It was supposed to be like a Batman versus Superman kind of, not as cartoony, not as Tim Burton-y.
Right.
Deadpool came out, became this amazing rated R action comedy. They said, oh fuck, and reshot a bunch of shit.
And I think which includes a unicorn stuffed animal that Boomerang has.
Hell?
What was going on? Me and the professor just kept looking at each other like, what is going on?
But they
with
didn't
this
even
fucking
play the joke. Like, there was no joke.
There was no joke.
there was no setup.
He
It's just there.
It was just there.
Yeah. Like what?
There was no actual joke about it.
Yeah, that's something they could have at least like a little.
I'm
bit
sure
more
the deleted
information.
scenes will have something in it.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah,
But it was almost like they did the backstory, and they were like, all right, we're going to start this thing strong. And, like, the dossiers, first off, they should have started out with Amanda Waller doing the dossiers. There was no reason for those first two scenes with Deadshot and Harley Quinn. Or those should have been later.
Yeah.
Those should have been cut later. It should have been Amanda Waller doing the dossier, introducing everyone.
Yeah.
That was the logical start to the film.
Credits.
And then, title credits, start in with the Deadshot and the Harley Quinn thing, because then you introduce, the prison guards and all of that stuff, and then continue on. Because otherwise, I was like, what's the point in doing those first two scenes? And it was almost like they got caught up in doing the backstories and introducing these characters that they went, oh fuck, we don't have a story.
Yeah.
Enchantress, let's go.
We've got a theme song for everyone.
Holy shit, yeah.
Not that any of them particularly make sense. Harley's made sense. And then I think Deadshot's made sense. But I don't want it to make sense because there's only one reason that it makes sense, and it's because he's black.
Yeah.
Literally, you picked House of the Rising Sun because he's black. Really?
Yeah. Well, and then the fact that, like, I felt like they really wanted to make this. It was so Deadpool Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh god, they wanted that movie to be Guardians.
They wanted
of the
it to be
Galaxy
Guardians so bad.
They did.
Like, you will never top Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. You will never top it because that soundtrack is part of the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is part of the story, and it's significant.
Yeah.
There was not a single, as much as I loved the Suicide Squad soundtrack.
Yeah.
I'm buying that soundtrack for sure.
That soundtrack
it's
was
a great
phenomenal.
collection, but
There was no significant music. There was no song in there that made any sense to be in there. You could have picked any song, and you were like, oh, well, I'm going to play Queen because everyone likes Queen, and
I
it's
feel
a
like
hype up,
Like White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane would have been a nice touch in there.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Or the fact that they distinctly took Spirit in the Sky. And it's the Guardians of the Galaxy theme song. And they took it and they put it in this movie.
yeah, it was a weak move.
it just felt like, oh well, they did it. Maybe we can play it
I
off.
know. This whole movie was just like, well, they did in Guardians of the Galaxy.
So let's see if we can do
You're
it
not
here.
Guardians of the Galaxy. You shouldn't try to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
No.
Stop.
Suicide Squad. Jesus.
Do something different. That's what
You're
Suicide
DC.
Squad's about.
Be proud of yourself. God
Proud
damn
of
it.
who you
Like, and don't get me
are.
wrong, I can see the connections between Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah.
Don't get me, I totally see the connections. You wanna know what the big difference is? There's nobody really redeeming in Suicide Squad.
No.
That's the point.
They're all
Why were they
assholes.
just trying to redeem these characters so much? They didn't need to. It's way better if we just kind of sub-hate them but love them at the same time.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the way to do these guys, is that, like, I love them, but it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
These
Yeah.
characters
Yes,
should feel like it's always
yes,
sunny in
yes.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be able to hate them because it's the part of you that hates the world that loves these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes,
They're that
yes.
part of you that it's like the id.
Yeah.
They are the id.
Yeah, perfect.
And you want to identify with them, but not actually like commit
Be
murder.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not actually.
You don't wanna actually
like,
see that.
Yeah, get your hands dirty.
Exactly, and it was very hard. As much as like, and I think I connected with Harley because we knew her backstory and everything like that. Even Deadshot, you got with his kid, and that was a little bit. But the rest of it, I was like, I don't fucking care about any of you. Like
Yeah.
Diablo a little bit.
Diablo had a pretty.
I
Had a
liked
little bit of it.
Boomerang, but I didn't
But I
care
killed
about
Boomerang
Boomerang.
was such a like, he was funny. Haha.
Yeah, I mean,
he
he
was
was
the comedic
he was a
relief.
throwaway character
Oh.
in
He
every
was.
sense of the word.
I have
Like,
an accent.
No,
Haha,
exactly.
Though he was the only one that got
Stupid
captured by a different superhero that wasn't Batman.
That's true,
Right.
and that was a super cool tie-in.
Yeah.
yes,
Oh yeah.
That
yes,
was
the
nice.
Flash was
Nice
awesome.
little
I wish
cameo,
they had done
yeah.
that with more of it. Like, each one of them could have been caught by somebody different. Yes,
Right.
I understand the Suicide Squad revolves around Arkham in a huge way. It always traditionally has. But come on. DC has always shared their villains like amongst the characters very
Yeah.
well. There are villains that are for certain superheroes, but the Penguin has been spotted in other comics, and the Joker crosses in different areas and does things like.
Yeah.
You could have had everybody in the Justice League somehow contribute to the capturing of these guys, and it would have been
That'd have been good.
better tie-in for the whole universe that you're trying to make.
Right. Because at this point, we only have the connection to Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman,
And Flash now.
and Flash now. But there's no connection to what other impacts.
Which is why
the
I think
rest
they
of
decided
the-
to throw that mid-credit scene
Oh.
at the end of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Which apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently in the special features of the special edition,
It's supposed to be on
they
there.
have that already.
Batman vs Superman.
Yeah,
Batman
vs.
vs.
Superman.
Superman. Which is just like, really? You're just gonna rehash like some special feature
Yep.
shit and pretend
Yeah,
like
that's
that's...
Yep, because most people probably didn't watch that point.
Yeah.
They probably
because
didn't
we haven't
get
had
that
the
far.
fucking DVDs long enough and shit, man.
So they were like, oh, we'll
Or
just throw it here because
Blu-rays.
you know that someone's.
Blu-rays, yeah, nowadays.
Because they're gonna expect a mid-credit or end-credit scene, so we might as well just throw this to them instead of
Yeah. It's
Something-
doing something.
right, or like do the Harley escape where Joker shows up. That would have been a great end-credit scene.
Yeah, as opposed to
Ending
where
the
it
movie
did.
Right, because you had the closure. We knew they were going back to prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We knew that they weren't going to escape. So we had the closure of, well, there they are.
Yeah.
Have Joker show up at a mid-credit scene and be like, we're going home.
Yep.
That would have been phenomenal.
Yeah, actually finish off like some kind of like find a cutesy way to actually finish off the Bohemian Rhapsody thing.
Yes.
Here's
Yeah,
a thought.
that-
Use a
finish a
song
song.
to actually match with what's happening in the action and make it a complete sequence of events. Who is editing
It's like mid
DC
it's like
cinema
mid-lyric. It
right
ends.
now? Who's doing it? Because you need to be fired and replaced with whoever is doing the animated universe stuff, because that has been really on point as of late. That has some really good editing going on, and they need to just go over to the cinematic side because seriously, like that was my biggest complaint with both this and Batman vs Superman, is that the editing and directing was fucking all over the place.
Yeah.
It was very hard to kind of I could follow the story, but it was very hard to follow
You
the
felt like you were
pace.
2 beats behind.
All right.
Yes.
So
everything.
here's the
Yes.
thing. Like, this was just like when we saw Batman vs Superman. I felt like I knew exactly what was going on. I
Yeah.
knew what was going on throughout the entire movie, but at points I was just like, wait, what the fuck is going on?
Or my brain would go, why is this here?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
I would go, why is this scene here and not 2 minutes earlier or 2 minutes later? Or
Like-
why are we here? Or why is this a flashback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no emotional connection to any of these. So
Yeah,
then you
that's-
had, like, there was no emotional connection to any of it.
here's the other big problem. There was also a big problem in Batman vs Superman, although it didn't even need to be, because again, you could have taken Doomsday out and it would have been just fucking dandy.
I think DC has a problem with too many characters. They want to throw so many characters because
really
they want to
do.
introduce everybody.
And seriously,
and then it just blows up.
they want to catch up
They
with
want their
Marvel.
Justice League.
Marvel has been pushing the limit on how many characters they can
Yes.
stuff into a single film.
They have.
Pay attention. Like they're actually losing some traction on that ground. Like, hey, you're gonna be in this race. Pay attention to how it's being run, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But ultimately, like, if you're going to have a lot of the story revolve around something that is clearly going to be special effects, how about actually have a special effects budget?
Yeah, some of the first Enchantress show up when Enchantress first shows up, and June tells her to Enchantress, and she morphs in that
Yeah, when
conference
she
room.
grabs the hand from the
Oh
other
my
side
god,
and flips
I
it
got
around.
chills.
That was awesome.
And I
It was
thought that was the
amazing.
level we were gonna be at for the rest
And
of
then
the
we
film.
got some like creepy ring girl for the end of it, and I'm like, what the hell?
And then her like weird like
Walk.
seizure pop blocking,
Yeah.
like, spell casting, that was a bit weird too.
So
Yeah.
and then when she becomes like this human like solid form, and you're like, I thought at one point I was watching at one point I was very much I thought it was influenced by what is it? That Alea movie.
Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes!
I was
that
thinking that too.
stupid crown
Oh
thing
my
she was
God.
fucking wearing. Yeah.
her whole like
Yes.
outfit. Oh my god.
Because at first I was like, am I watching the right movie?
Yeah.
It definitely looked like Queen of the Damned.
And why did she live? What the fuck? Why did she live?
Okay,
Like, seriously.
DC does not have the
Sequels.
balls to kill off any characters.
Yeah.
They wanted to do the emotional thing about killing off Harley Quinn, and then they didn't, which makes sense because Harley's the moneymaker. Let's
Yeah,
be
yeah,
real.
yeah,
let's
yeah.
be
In
real.
this
Sure.
universe,
Dare
the women
kill her.
are the moneymakers.
Booty shorts.
Yeah.
Shorts.
Those
Let's-
are the
yes.
moneymakers.
Those are the moneymakers. But then they bring in to really show the risk and the threat of these neck bombs. They're gonna bring in a character that punches a female officer so you hate him,
Yep.
and then blow him up 10 minutes later. I didn't care.
like it was just like, oh, cool,
If,
he's gone.
if
Okay,
anything,
so
I
they
hope
worked.
they blew him up so I didn't have to keep
They
track
also,
of
it
him.
was super obvious that it was coming. There was absolutely no surprise in it at all. Like, it was
No,
like
like-
super out, like, you know, these things are fucking, it's a joke, right? It's just to psych you out and shit. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, the other dude's gonna die because Boomerang's did
Yeah.
too many other scenes.
Right,
so-
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, how convenient that the dude you picked to die wasn't in the dossiers or any of the trailer or
Right.
just kind of
One
came
picture.
out of.
Yeah,
one
yeah, one
picture.
Well, one picture, yeah.
But
Oh.
he didn't have a
And
backstory.
which
No
they
backstory.
showed to you as he was showing up on the
Yeah,
scene,
right.
like not
Like,
even in sequence with everybody else, so it might have fooled you, maybe. Really? Did you think we were gonna be fooled by that? Like, what was the gimmick there? I don't even get it, honestly.
If anything, they should have just had him like try to escape on his own, just like fuck you guys,
Right.
and then kill him. Not like prank.
Yeah, exactly. Because then
I
Boomerang
kind
gets
of did like that though. I'm not gonna lie. The Captain Boomerang say.
Well,
very
if
much-
anything, then Boomerang realizes that they're not really fucking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Flag has no problem pulling the trigger. I think that was the test, was
Yeah.
to show that Flag has no problem killing any of them.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
But it was just kind of like, all right, well, you brought him in obviously for me to hate, and I
Yeah.
read trivia that they were supposed to mention that he was like some serial rapist so that you would hate him more.
Oh God.
So obviously he was there to hate and to not have any emotional attachment to.
Yeah.
Guess what, motherfuckers? DC, learn your shit, because Marvel knows how to kill off characters and affect an audience.
Yeah.
When Phil Coulson dies, we all cried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone
Even though he came
dies.
back for his own TV series,
Even
like
though
that
he
was
came back-
devastating.
But when he
we
came
didn't
back,
even, we didn't even care about him that much up until
No.
the Adventures. He was just this dude
He
who's
was
been
just-
around in the other
yeah.
films, and he
Yeah,
was kind of
like
like,
side
oh,
dude.
there's Phil, and they built him up in Avengers just enough beyond that it was devastating as shit.
and then when he
Devastating.
came back and stepped out of the shadows and was like, welcome to level 7, everyone lost their shit. Everyone lost their shit. DC needs to learn that, guys, guess what? Kill your darlings.
Kill your darlings,
Kill your
yeah.
darlings. That's how it's gonna be. If they don't mean anything to the plot and it's gonna affect your audience, kill them.
Just don't Game of Thrones it.
Yeah,
Kill off
don't
every
kill
good
everybody,
person.
guys. But still, it was a lot of, oh guys, look at these risks we're taking, but they weren't really risks. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, look what we can do. We've got
Right.
this great, bullshit, haha. No, it didn't matter. None of it really mattered. There was no, big kind of moment. It was it was a lot of
which is sort of hilarious because indirectly then Bohemian Rhapsody sort of does fit for the ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing really
matters. Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. Alan, you guys were saying that, like, okay, we need to get editors that actually know how to edit. How about we get the editor that did the trailer with Bohemian Rhapsody?
Right?
Yeah, seriously.
Because that was actually
Because
decent.
that was
I mean, I
good.
rolled my eyes because I could tell they were desperately trying to make it into Guardians of the Galaxy,
Right.
but for what it
But
was,
they
was
did it.
really good.
Yeah.
Because DC keeps trying to replicate the Marvel stuff, the Guardians and the Deadpool, and then not doing it.
Well,
they fail at it.
And it's
So there's no point in doing it. You guys might as well do something original.
and we don't
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
see it from you guys. We want to see something different from you guys.
New and exciting.
The dry ass humor that you've got going with Ben Affleck,
Yeah.
that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
That's what we want from you guys. We want really dry, extremely high intelligent wit.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we
is
want.
expected of you, DC.
Yeah.
You know, Barry Allen can be a little goofy.
Yeah.
But even then, he's still like kind of a sarcastic asshole.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do.
I think
we
the
need
guy they
something
got
different.
for him is going to do good.
I think he's doing great.
I am very excited. And see, again, back to Batman vs Superman. I'm more excited for things that they were setting up in this film. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see more of the Joker. I'm excited to see more of Harley Quinn. I'm excited to hopefully see like Deadshot like come back in some kind of
Yeah.
way. Because I actually
Yeah,
like,
something.
as ridiculous as it was that he was such a main character for no reason, like it did kind of work.
It sold.
He endeared himself to me, and I do want to see more of him.
Yeah.
I actually really, really want to see him with the Joker because Will Smith fucking hates Jared Leto
Oh my
now
God,
because of
yeah,
all the
so
stuff that
much.
happened behind the scenes, and I want to see that captured on screen because
so
that
what
would be
exactly did you do to
delicious.
get Will Smith to hate him that bad?
Well, for one thing, he sent various people dead animals.
Oh, yeah, I
He
remember
sent
that.
Margot Robbie a live rat. He sent a dead pig. Somebody got used condoms.
A few people got used condoms,
What?
actually.
Oh, yeah.
I have the list somewhere. Hold on, IMDb's
I
got
remember
it.
that. I remember the used condom shit. And
Um,
I remember the.
It was
rat.
like just, yeah, it was just.
It was just
Viola
very
Davis-
gross.
You know, Viola
Shit.
Davis was getting like voicemails from him and like trying to
He would text them in
yeah, he would,
character.
yeah,
Stuff like that.
super
Yeah.
creepy
Like kind of harass them
messages.
almost. It
Yeah.
was like creepy.
That's why she doesn't like him, I know, because of those like messages and stuff, and just being all around creepy backstage.
I think the thing about this Joker is that obviously you can't compare him to anybody. Like you're gonna compare him to the other Jokers, obviously.
I mean, yeah,
Which
you
is a mistake.
Yeah,
Which is a
you can't
mistake,
do
you
that.
can't do that.
People
You
tried to
can't.
compare Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson when it first came.
And you
whole
can't.
other ball game. It's not doable.
They're all
can't- you
separate
can't- you can't.
Jokers. You can't
Yeah.
make them one Joker.
No.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like this Joker came up, it was a little less anarchist and a little more mob boss, which is
Yeah.
what he was
Crime
going
lord.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that was it, and actually, everyone hated the tattoos and stuff. And it's like they're trying
kinda
to
works.
modernize it. I thought it worked really
Yeah.
well. Like I'm like, yeah, the guy of like the seediest nightclub in Gotham who owns
Yeah.
that nightclub and like runs like crazy ass illegal businesses out of it. I expect him to look kind of like that, maybe minus the paleness and green hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you know, tatted up like crazy, but still wearing like a $300 suit with no shirt on.
And
Right.
Yeah.
Gold on gold on gold.
Gold,
Yeah.
gold, gold. But I got the very like skeezy
Oh,
vibe,
yes.
like
Oh, yeah.
super slimy, kind of like not even necessarily crazy,
Yeah.
but like knows he can get away with it, so
Yeah.
he just does it
Oh yeah.
because people are scared of him.
Yep.
Kind of vibe where he's that guy who's got so much power that he can just act however he wants.
Yeah.
Which is cool because
exactly.
it's been a long time because that's the way that he was originally. Like he was supposed to kind of be like this weird caricature that was halfway a clown, halfway a mob boss.
Yeah.
Like that was what his original like archetype was, and they played that more back like in the golden silver age, and as time went on he became more and more of like this like kind of rogue criminal who did things by himself.
This
But he
anarchistic
used to
terrorist.
have like a crew that would
Chaotic
do
evil.
shit.
Oh yeah.
chaotic
the
evil.
Comics
cronies
and everything
shit,
and
yeah.
cronies, and you know it was really cool to see him in that element because we haven't seen him in that element since Jack Nicholson.
Yeah,
Right.
it's true. Yeah, he talks about, there's an article he talks about, you know, I also wrote everyone a poem. It helped me think about who they were and kind of created this illusion of a relationship and make the circumstances a little more realistic. So he did things. He goes, I gave cupcakes, but then he added with a devilish grin, I don't think they should have eaten the cupcakes. So like it's just weird
Jesus
shit
Christ.
like
Yeah,
that it was just like it was shit that's okay. I get the method acting. Robert Downey Jr. does it. Heath Ledger did it. People that do it, and it's great. But when you get to the point that you alienate your fellow cast members,
Oh yeah.
to the and like it's not even like on set. Like there's been people like when we talked about Ryan Reynolds a couple weeks ago, and how in what was the horror movie he was in? What was
Amity Horror?
Yes, when he did Amity Horror, he did not talk to the kids at all. They did not get the like funny Ryan Reynolds side. They got the creepy dad, just kind of like freak out. Okay, fine, because that's how that relationship's supposed to be, and especially with kid actors, you have to be careful
Yeah.
because they're gonna see the goofy Ryan Reynolds side and not be able to react to the creepy Ryan Reynolds side.
Right.
They're all goddamn adults, so there's a line. And I personally think that doing creepy shit like that to the point that everyone hates you off set, there's a line.
I think there's a line. Here's what I would vote. I think generally trying to just creep them out while being around them was fine.
Yeah.
I think sending them creepy messages was fine, to be perfectly honest. I draw the line at used condoms and dead animals.
Yeah.
What was in those cupcakes
What?
exactly?
Yeah, no, that's not cool, dude. Don't get me wrong. If you want to get everybody to not really like you because they're not really supposed to like your character, I totally get that. But you don't cause a health hazard to do it, man. Like, again, I think that, like, maybe some people would argue that the messages were even too far. I'm kind of on board with the messages. I get that because it like, he is trying to create that animosity between everybody and make everybody kind of, like, naturally be like a little bit put off by him and not wanting to be around him. And when he gets up in there, and again, like we said earlier, it did come across like when he gets up in people's faces, they are super uncomfortable. They do not want him in that space, and you can tell. And it came across really, really well. And I mean, that was sort of the point. It's really hard, but I think it's pretty easy to say, like, when there's a health hazard potential going on, like, you have crossed the line.
You need to be able to trust your fellow actors to do their jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what it was that he didn't trust, especially because he only really had scenes with Margot Robbie, out of the main Suicide Squad. He only had really, and I could see him doing it with, like, his crew, because his crew's not supposed to be buddy-buddy with him. They're supposed to fear him. Okay, fine. And having some sort of, weird relationship with Margot Robbie, okay, but, like, he did it to the point that he obviously didn't, it seemed like he didn't trust any of his other actors to separate Jared Leto from the Joker.
I don't think he was like doing that intentionally. I think he just realized there are big shoes to fill when you are playing the Joker, and he just wanted to do it right, and he wanted to do it as raw and as like different as possible, because Heath Ledger did his thing. Heath Ledger went really he didn't go that overboard with his method acting, but it went overboard to the point in his psyche, from what I hear.
And I mean, and actually, as far as like creepy messages, generally trying to weird people out, Heath Ledger did do that stuff. Like he definitely, like, not the messages so much, but he like definitely would like leave like weird notes around and stuff like that. And he would definitely, when talking to other people, would stay in character as the Joker and try to just get a rise out of them when he was having a conversation.
He scared the shit out of Michael Caine.
Michael Caine didn't even deliver the line he was supposed to.
Yeah,
he just stood there in awe when he walked
do his
through.
Own face paint too? Like
he designed it. He originally came up with the concept for what the Joker was going to wind up looking like, and then a makeup crew took it over to make sure it would look right in all the shots.
Let's be careful, guys. We might start talking about Heath Ledger for hours.
Oh God, yeah, no, we could go forever.
That could be a whole episode in of itself.
Yeah, and actually we've gone plenty at this point. So Suicide Squad, it's worth a watch. I'll say that it's
Definitely
worth a watch. Go check it out for yourself and form your own opinion, because the critics were definitely too harsh on it. But DC, you've got to get your shit together.
You're close. You're so fucking close. Just get your shit. Put it all in a fucking bag. Just get your shit together. Just get it together.
Get it together.
For the love of God.
All right. Well, that's all from us tonight. This has been the Geek for All show. Please join us again next time we do this, the first and third Tuesday of every month. We post a video. So we'll see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
The music for the Geek for All show has been provided by Fat Street Beats, Ben Sound, and Purple Planet. Please support their individual pages.